Hi there. Welcome to Stars Will Align. Think of this like sitting around the cauldron with me, but instead of potions, we're working with timing, energy, and a little bit of cosmic insight. This is the audio companion to my Cosmic Cauldron newsletter, where I break down the week ahead through astrology, human design, and gene keys. Plus, a little tarot, psychic downloads, and whatever else decides to show up. Nothing here is random. There are patterns to all of this. So this is your weekly check-in with the collective energy. What's shifting, what's activating, and how to actually move with it. Let's see what this week has in store. Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's transit talk. First and foremost, I just want to say that I am very experimental with this because I feel like I still haven't found what feels good to me. And maybe what's the most useful or practical for all of you who listen or read the newsletter. And so I really appreciate all of your feedback because it really helps me to kind of fine tune things as I move forward. And one thing I'm kind of sitting with today is that it still feels like it's a process that's taking me too long to do. So I'm going to try to condense this or be shorter today, even though there's a lot going on this week. Okay, so let's start out by talking about the card pull. So the first card we got was the Ace of Cups. This is always when we tap into an emotion. Maybe it's a new emotion or emotion that's been buried. Maybe it's something that you haven't been able to feel for a long time and now it's finally moving and you're able to feel that thing fully. It could also be like a new feeling, like, ooh, I've never felt this before. And it can also be, intuition and creativity and all of those types of things as well. And then the second card we got was Floral Essence. And I am actually going to read this out of the book. I think that that's going to be something cool, just kind of like you guys are going along the process with me. So this is, also something where we're bringing the water element in again. Intuitively, I'm getting something about the basking process of almost the way that water can be imprinted upon. And also the basking, right? That's kind of what I mean, I guess, like the water taking the essence from something. So that's kind of interesting, this could be that's kind of why I'm drawn to maybe the new emotion is something that's being tapped into, that's been stored within your body, some type of emotion able to be released or come out or be felt. And then the last card we got was this one from the Brain Skull deck that says, I am brand new, plus teenager me, plus childhood me, plus baby me, plus source. And, that's also interesting along with the water cards, right? Again, back to that, stored emotion. It could be, how all of these things live with you throughout all of your life, right? Everything that you've ever been through, every emotion, especially every emotion that you never let yourself feel before. All of that is keeping you almost frozen in that time and space where that emotion was suppressed in the first place. So oftentimes those things need to be felt to be able to be moved through properly. But I'm going to read what this says out of the book. So for Floral Essence, it says, floral essences were discovered through the studies of Edward Bach, who identified the homonymous flowers that are used to balance the emotions. They are prepared by placing the flowers lightly on water under sunlight. If even one cloud passes in the sky, you have to start the preparation all over again. This card tells you it is time to commit yourself to a difficult task, but one that will bring you great satisfaction. It may also be a suggestion for your emotions. Try to listen carefully to what you feel. And then for the card, I am brand new, it says, every past experience is still inside of you. Don't yearn for the past as if it's gone. Appreciate your memories as what they truly are, an integrated part of your eternal being. This reminds me of, I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago when Uranus was passing from gate 8 into gate 20, and I was talking about how like I'm actually kind of sad about that because I learned so many great and valuable things about myself and my own personal style and uniqueness, and I felt like I made my life more magical and more alive, and I was like almost just grieving that, like as if it was going away. And she, of course, with all of her amazingness, reminded me, no, like it's not going away. That's still something that is within you. Like you will carry this with you for the rest of your life. So yeah, I don't know if that's helpful to you all, but that's just something coming to me with that. So let's get into the transits. Monday, today, the moon is in Cancer. So we're definitely feeling a bit more emotionally sensitive. We could be craving safety and comfort and home and connection. We might be feeling a little nostalgic and also longing for more softness in our life. It's a good day to check in with your emotions, right? So like what a powerful way to start the week with all of this water energy, and the home, right, where she loves to be, right? Like the moon, our emotions are at a place where they feel at home right now. So it's a great time to tap in. Today also, Mars is going to transit into Taurus. So Mars, the planet of action, starts to slow down in Taurus. It becomes a bit more grounded and steadier and more sustainable. So we're going to be feeling a little bit less impulsive now. And, that kind of just like charge forward energy is now going to turn into a little bit more of an intentional momentum rather than, just charging forward. But the shadow side to this, right, with Taurus and Mars being there is this stubbornness or resistance to moving. So just something to be mindful of. Also today, Venus is going to move into Cancer. Venus is the, planet of values and relationships. And so in the sign of Cancer, things soften. And also vulnerability comes forward, tenderness, pain, but all of that kind of nurturing more closeness, more vulnerable and meaningful connections. This could also be a good time to watch for like codependency or emotional attachment, or also like your mood kind of impacting the relationships around you, right? So like let's say that you haven't been taking good care of yourself and your emotional needs. Are you kind of getting bitchy with the people around you? Oftentimes people think that they can get away with it. Like oftentimes people think like, oh yeah, I can keep doing this thing even though I'm stressed and I'm burnt out and my energy is low and I'm not taking good care of myself, and like I can just power through it and everything will go fine. But oftentimes it doesn't, because people can feel that off of you. People can feel your burnout, your resentment, your lack of self-care. So I would say that, it's kind of reminding me of the human design lesson of following an emotional wave, right? Like wait until that emotion is fully felt and nurtured before you speak to it. Wait until your cup is full before you try to pour on to others. Like wait until you understand things internally before you express externally, like etc., etc. Tuesday, Mercury sextile Neptune. Mercury is in Gemini and Neptune is in Aries. And whenever we have Mercury coming into a positive aspect with Neptune, we can expect our intuition to be stronger. We can expect to feel more creative, more dreaminess, more synchronicities, symbolism, spiritual connection, stuff like that. So definitely a great time, to be writing or channeling or receiving messages. But then also I could see it being, especially with Mercury being in Gemini, it could also be important to kind of get down to the factual matter of things too, right? Because Gemini is information, so it's like, okay, what are the facts of the information? And then also when you think of Aries, like what is the higher spiritual self saying about this as well? I hope that makes sense. So it's kind of like holding both at the same time, or being able to hold both at the same time. Then also we have Venus sextile Mars. This is going to be a nice harmony between action and desires. They're both in their new places, right? Cancer and Taurus. And Cancer and Taurus alone is like really nice energy for each other, right? Both kind of care about sustenance is how I see it. And so it is a great time to kind of have your desires and your actions coming from a more, nurtured place, a place of sustenance. Also, like your masculine and your feminine energy kind of coming together and aligning. The more receptive side of you and the more action oriented, on a pursuit side of you coming together into alignment. So definitely a great time for, I would say, relationships, taking action on things, moving towards what you actually want, what you value. At the same time, Mercury is going to trine Pluto. I could see that taking the insights of Gemini. Mercury loves to be in Gemini, right? Like Mercury's at home there in Gemini. So lots of thoughts coming online. But then it kind of hits into this deeper psychological truth, this pattern recognition, this deeper insight. So I would say also Tuesday is a really great day. If you feel like your mind is scattered, like you're thinking a lot of different things, kind of try to tap into the deeper thing. Definitely a great time to have deeper conversations. Also a great time for shadow work, because Pluto being in Aquarius again, it is transforming the shadow of the collective, and the shadow of the collective is what creates the shadow of the individual, right? So both are kind of like impacting each other like a snake eating its own tail. So the more that you individually can tap into deeper psychological truths, the more that you are impacting the collective shadow as well. Also on this day, Mercury is going to enter Also on this day, Mercury is going to enter gate 16. So our energy is going to shift toward skill building and mastery. Also interesting, because something I keep like thinking about this week is like, I said this in class earlier today. We always keep talking about what we're fighting against, but what are we fighting for? Right? How can we build the skills and the enthusiasm and the energy towards what we're fighting for? I think if we could channel that into that, it would feel more empowering, right? Rather than when we're focused on what we're fighting against, it can start to feel heavy and insurmountable and keep us stuck, which is going to have us feeling more expressive and playful and creative, and maybe even a little bit more shiny, like we can step out there and be seen. And then also on this day, the sun is going to enter into Gemini. So it's officially Gemini season. And happy birthday to all the Geminis out there. And this is going to shift our collective focus toward communication, curiosity, ideas, learning, perspective, facts, information. But the downside to Gemini energy is definitely going to be overthinking, scattered thinking, distraction, overstimulation, being having too many tabs open at the same time is kind of how I describe it. And also at the same time, the sun and earth gates are going to move from 20 to 34, which again, 20, this is also where Uranus is, right? This is the gate of presence. So if you feel overstimulated, if you feel distracted, like you're thinking about too many things at the same time, definitely take the time to get present in the moment, to ground down, to be back in the body. And that's how you slow those thoughts down. And that's how also you tap into a more empowered place. Because with this particular transit, it's trying to teach us that power comes from being fully present in the moment, not from forcing or proving. On Thursday, Mars is going to enter gate 27, which is really all I have for Thursday. That means that we're going to feel more motivated to nourish things in our life, to come into more of a caregiving role, to be more protective of the things we love and care about, and take responsibility over those things that we love and care about. And so, with that, watch over giving and burnout, which seems to be a huge theme this week. On Friday, Venus is going to square Neptune, which could have us feeling foggy about our relationships. Watch out for projection, idolization, fantasy, wishful thinking, especially with it being in Cancer as well. You know, there could be some codependency kind of thing here of wanting to feel emotionally safe through another rather than doing that independently. Also on Friday, the sun is going to conjunct Uranus. So back to that gate 20, when we're staying present in the moment, we can expect, you know, breakthroughs, surprises, electricity, sudden insights, plot twists. Again, things shifting, things liberating us. Mercury is going to sextile Saturn, so this is going to really help us ground in that insight, ground in that information. Our communication can be more clear, to the point, mature, practical. We are able to set boundaries easier with this particular transit. And then Venus is going to move into gate 52. So if you're feeling that, you know, projection or that wishful thinking or that codependency, this could be a time to really get still and focus and patient and like, you know, just kind of like sucking up that grasping back into yourself, into your own containment, into creating that stillness within yourself instead of longing for it to come from another person. Mercury is also going to enter gate 35. So we're going to be craving, you know, new experiences, movement. We're going to be wanting things to change. Again, there could be some restlessness to this if you're feeling stagnant. On Saturday, the moon is going to move into Virgo. So this is definitely a great time to organize, clean, get back into your routines, some of your, you know, health needs, kind of simplify life as much as possible. And then the big one this week is that Neptune is going to enter gate 17. Neptune moves slowly, you know, so Neptune spends about 5 or 6 months in a single gate. So whenever Neptune moves in a new gate, it's kind of a big deal. And this one, you know, I guess, you know, Neptune on its own represents dreams and illusion and spirituality. Collective consciousness or collective shadow work, again, especially, is a huge deal with this. Can also be like confusing and foggy, but it can be inspirational. It can feel like rose-colored glasses or always seeing the ideal in every situation. So when it goes into gate 17, we're looking at our opinions and our farsightedness, our belief systems, opinions that we mistake for truth, mental projections, idolized narratives, feeling confused around what's true. So we really can feel into the difference with this transit, maybe, if we take advantage of it, between our intuition and our mental projections. That's essentially what I would say, because I think a lot of the times we can, if we don't have that really good, solid sense of attunement into ourselves, we can confuse those two energies quite easily. Okay, and then finally on Sunday, the sun is going to sextile Neptune. So bringing back in that Neptunian energy, and then the sun's shining a light on it. I would say this could be a lot of integration. This could be beautiful to meditate and get, you know, a lot of clarity around certain things. Lots of journaling maybe. And then meditation, I'm going to just keep saying that a lot lately, especially with all of this Gemini energy coming at us here soon with Uranus there. Like meditation. The more you can stay present, the more you can stay grounded, the more you can bring this mental energy down through the body and find the deeper things, find the integration, find the emotion that needs to be touched upon. Like find the deeper things, you're going to get through this a lot easier. So this week, you know, I would watch out for being stubborn about your comfort. You know, this is definitely a time to be growing. So while we're, you know, closing up some loose ends on Taurus, definitely be watching that stubbornness when it comes to staying in your comfort zone, and maybe just a little baby step, you know, towards something that feels like growth. And then also thinking more long-term about your energy. You know, what do you have the capacity for? How much longer can this go on before things break? How can you see a little bit further ahead to understand how you nurture yourself through this moment? Also asking, you know, are you seeing things for how they really are, or are you just, you know, blinding yourself to that and pretending to see what you actually hope to see? So presence is the power this week, and I'll keep saying that. Okay, thank you. I hope you all have a wonderful week ahead.